Dette Mikkel Thommessen med SEILmagasinets helgeutgave. Vi nå I Düsseldorf under båtutstillingen, og jeg så heldig å ha med meg her Sir Knox Johnston, som jo vel kjent for mange, både for The Golden Globe Race og for Clipper Races, som han da startet noe senere. Robin, it's very nice to have you here, and especially today's 50 years since the Golden Globe race. What memories does this race bring to your attention?
I think 50 years ago, I was just passing the Falkland Islands. So I was around Cape Horn anyway. I passed Cape Horn on the 17th of January. So I was out of the Southern Ocean, which was a great relief. I started to get dry for once, which was nice. But yes, I've got strong memories of some of it and complete forgetfulness of others. So
it was a dramatic regatta at that time, as it has been this year, with a lot of retirements, and fortunately no lives have been lost, but it's been dangerous situations.
Yes, we've had 5 dismastings, which is interesting, which I'm looking into. I'm interested if there's a common factor, and I think there is, which I'm still studying it. But fortunately, nothing more serious. The worst injury has been Abhilash Tomi, who's recovering. In fact, in many ways, it's been remarkable because 17 boats started, 5 are still racing. That's not too bad, really, if you think about it. It just reminds people this isn't easy.
I mean, if we should look into cliches like the world's toughest yacht race, this must rank pretty high.
I don't think there's anything tougher. If you go down into the Southern Ocean in a small boat, it's thoroughly dangerous. It's totally different to doing it in a Volvo boat, for instance, with lots of people, or an open 60, which you've got the speed to get out of the way. You can't get out of the way in those small boats, so you're going to be thumped by the waves. So, frankly, I think it is the toughest race.
And it's the longest in duration, and there have been, you mentioned the mast breakages,
yeah,
which are due to rollovers. Not that they break just by sailing, the boats turn over and they come up without masts.
That's right.
And of course that has been tough. What reflections do you do on Jean-Luc van den Hede, who is our age and still strong?
Jean-Luc's a remarkable person. When people said to me at the beginning, before the race, they said, "Who do you think will win?" I said, "Jean-Luc." He's got so much experience, he's got the right mental attitude. Very old personal friend, been a friend of mine for more than 30 years. But he's just so capable. Now, despite damage to a mast, he's still piling in, and he's opened up a bit. He's opened his lead up again today, I see. If anyone was going to achieve this, it was going to be Jean-Luc. You know, you just said, well, Jean-Luc knows what he's doing. He'll get round. And he's been practicing for a long time. He got a boat early, and he went out and just trained with it. So you knew he knew his boat inside out. Mark Slat's interesting. He's done very well, I think. And in fact, all of them around Cape Horn have done well. You know, they've done extremely well considering the situation. We'll see. Once they're around Cape Horn, really, you say, look, they should get back okay.
Of course, I mean, now there is less than 1,000 miles left for Jean-Luc, so, you know, he probably has it in the bag, but you never know.
Well, he's been quite clever. His tactics
have been very good, and
he's done what I did to Tarbally in the Whitbread.
Yes.
Well, Tarbally went through the source. I went round.
Yeah, right.
And I got the wind.
Yeah.
That's why I beat him.
Yeah.
And Jean-Luc's done exactly the same. He's gone up to get the Westerners, and it was the right decision. It always has been. So Jean-Luc's coming in now fast, which is great.
Yeah. So do you think this is going to happen in another 4 years? This is a new event that is,
Well, in many ways, I hope it does, because I feel the great thing about this race is it's not expensive. You know, if you talk about doing a Vendée, you need £5 million minimum, probably more. Well, you've got to have a sponsor. This race, you can buy the boat for £50,000. So it actually is within reach of most people. If they really want to do it, they can find that money. And it's using what I suppose to most people are just standard cruising boats. And I feel we need to have these opportunities. We can't have everything so expensive that it can only be sponsored or an elite can do it. You know, sailing isn't like that. Sailing is a sport for everyone. And here's a race that anyone can do if they want to.
But do you think that the fact that there are so few boats left in the race will scare people off?
Well, I think it's more of a challenge. I think it'll challenge people. If they're being scared off, then they shouldn't do it anyway.
I mean, I know that you are not involved in the running of the race. You are a mentor, I suppose, but not actually involved in the running.
Yeah.
But then you are free to speak about how the event is run. Do you have any comments on that?
I think it's gone very well. I think there'll be, after this race, there'll need to be an analysis of some of the features.
Can I maybe bring you some coffee? Or?
No, thank you. There'll need to be an analysis of some of the things that were, you know, just to make sure. Always, I mean, whenever we finish a clipper race, I settle down with my team. What can we improve? Let's be very ruthless in our self-criticism, because if we're not, we won't progress. In which case, we're dead.
Right.
And I think the same thing will have to happen here. Look at it and say, well, maybe we should change this, maybe we should change this. And that's up to Don. But if it was me, that's what I'd be doing. But, I mean, I'm trying to examine why we lost so many masts. And it's very interesting getting feedback from the sailors about what was going wrong, what was happening. And in due course, when I've finished getting all the information, I shall settle down, analyse it and publish it. Because I feel that's going to help other sailors to handle their boats in very bad weather. And that's something that should be international.
Going back to the first race, which is a legendary event for many reasons. You won it, of course, and there were so many other dramas. And being 50 years ago now, some of these dramas have come up to light again, especially the situation with Donald Crowhurst, with the film and everything. What do you make of that?
Well, I've seen the film. It's actually remarkably accurate, I think. I mean, of course, the problem with that event was there was no requirement to prove you could sail. Anyone could just enter. There was no entry fee. The rules were pretty basic. Francis Chichester, when he was asked to be chairman, discovered the rules had already been made, so it was hard for him to change them. And he did have some experience. So it was a sort of odd event in many ways. But at the end of the day, it was simple. You had to go around the world without assistance. And you had to leave Antarctica to the south.
And you could also start whenever you wanted to, within the limit.
Well, within limits, yes. But that was because the Sunday Times wanted us all to start on the 31st of October. If you've got a small boat like me, that's no good. I'm going to be around Cape Horn in March, April? No way. Autumn? No, thank you. I wanted around it in midsummer. So I said, well, you know, bye, I'm going in June. And that's why they changed the rules. They had to, because they said, well, I'm going. And they said, oh, well, we want you in our event. Can't you wait? I said, no. Don't you understand? I'm not going round in March, April. So they had to change the rules.
So that meant it wasn't just a question of first to finish, but it was the question of who had the fastest elapsed time.
That's when they changed it to make two prizes. The first to finish and the fastest. Yes, that's right.
But in fact, you were the only one who finished, because Bernard Mortissier, he decided to keep on going.
Yeah, he might have been beaten though by what's his name, Tetley. Tetley was going quite fast.
Yes, but he broke his mast towards the end.
No, he broke his boat.
He broke his boat
because Crowhurst was giving false positions and he pushed too hard.
Right.
But he was doing a fast run.
Right.
And he could have beaten Mortissier.
Right.
Mortissier wouldn't have caught me. I was too far ahead. I was 19 days ahead of him at Cape Horn. It was too much. And Mortissier agreed with him. He said, I would never have caught you.
But you donated your prize to Crow's
Well,
widow.
we didn't know much at the time, you know. We knew that his logbook was false. We didn't know very much more, but that time, Tetley was still racing. So it was a different situation. You know, people tend now to look back and say, but this. No. That isn't the situation at that time. You've forgotten the way it worked. Tetley was still racing when he was.
But the fact was still that you donated your prize to.
Yeah, but you know,
well,
they were going to lose their house. So.
They were going to lose their house, right?
Yeah, so it was a bit bad for young children.
But you started about the same time as Che Blythe, and
no, after Che Blythe.
After Che Blythe, he had British Steel and subsequently British
Correct.
British Telecom as his main sponsor.
Correct. Well, we didn't intend to do that. We intended to join a race organised by Jimmy Cornell, and we built the boats to be part of Jimmy Cornell's race. And Jimmy Cornell became quite impossible. I mean, he threatened to sue me because I hadn't entered. I said, Jimmy, we're still discussing it. You know, I'm going to sue you. And he tells the press he's going to sue me. And, you know, oh, for God's sake, I can't work with him. So we decided, okay, we'll have to have our own race. So that's how we started our own race. It wasn't our intention.
But your financial base was the crew that paid the cost, and later on you had the host cities that came in and sponsored each boat. Whereas Che had a big sponsor, and when they dropped out, he was sort of high and dry.
Our business model was totally different. In many ways, it's much more stable. As we could afford it, we could work without sponsorship.
And you have also a more frequent schedule, so now you are basically racing all the time. Every
2 years. I mean, if you've got all these assets, and you don't use them, they're sitting there costing you money. You've got to use them. So we went every 2 years. Che was going every 4 years. So he's got 3 years in between when he's not earning money.
But you are doing the round the world race all the time. You haven't considered doing round the world race in one sequence and then doing the Northern Europe or some other transatlantic or in the interim periods.
We looked at doing transatlantic, but there wasn't that much interest. We did do trips up to Greenland. Done that. It wasn't too bad. It's special. It's a one-off, and I like doing it. But if you can't get the boats to the airfield, you've got to hire helicopters in Greenland. There's your profit. It's just gone.
But Clipper Venture is still, our Clipper Race is still very strong. Do you have a waiting list for people to get on?
So some of the legs now we do already for the next race. We've got waiting lists, yes.
Do you sell individual legs, or do you? Yes. You don't have to be on every leg.
You can do the whole thing, or you can do legs. You can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 legs if you want.
Right.
But 3 of the legs are now full. We're down to waiting lists. The others have not got many spaces left. We're filling up rapidly now.
You had some bad accidents in the last race. I think you lost a life, and then the boat went. One boat went aground. Did you learn anything from that? Can you do something to improve?
What I learned was that if you have an idiot skipper, you'll put your boat on a beach.
Right.
And it was idiocy.
Yeah.
The loss of the life was a total tragedy. It was it was a unique failure of a safety harness. He was clipped on, he got caught on the cleat, and it was where the lock comes across. It caught there, which is the weak point, and it broke. And that hasn't happened before, because I was talking to Stan Honey of World Sailing Ocean Safety, and we were discussing it, and we've told the industry you've got to make a better hook. That your standard hook is got a weakness there, which we didn't know about before. So it was tragic, absolutely tragic. Nice guy too. So we've lost 2 boats in the course of our thing, both down to idiocy. Poor seamanship, poor navigation, both of them.
Does that mean that because you cannot know everything about every skipper, does that mean that you might have 2 professionals on boats from now on, or?
No, we're putting a second professional on board. Yes, it'll be first time we've done it throughout the race is this one. So We'll see how it works. We used to train people up to do that job, but the government decided, having agreed that previously as the system, they changed their minds at very short notice. We had 5 days to find other people for the boats, which wasn't very long, and I'm very angry about it. You know, you don't do that to a company. But that's governments for you, civil servants. Don't have much time for them. We managed to do it, but it was hard work.
Some of your skippers your clipper race have been sort of a springboard to greater careers.
Yeah,
Mention some of them.
Alex Thompson for a start.
Right.
Look what he's done since. Various others would like to do it. We've had some really good skippers. I mean, the German we had in the last race, Chris Corbush, excellent skipper. I'd employ him again any time. Previous race, Patrick from the Netherlands, great skipper. You know, but we've had over 90 skippers.
But Alex was extremely young when he got that job.
24.
Yeah. See, the youngest skipper.
No, the girl was. In the last race, who came second.
Right.
She was brilliant. Nikki, she was just fabulous. Great skipper. Wendy won it, Nikki second. So I had girl skippers first and second in the last race.
Were you involved with Alex after the clipper race to promote him?
No, not really. He went off in his own way. I mean, we're still good friends. But he had one of his crew, Keith Mills, who invented air miles, backed him. So he went off doing his own thing.
Now he's building yet another Imoco 60.
Yep.
Do you still have your own Imoco 60?
No, I've sold it.
You sold it. That was pretty amazing that you decided to do this around alone when you were, what, 67?
68.
60.
Well, yeah, but you see, Jean-Luc, 73.
Right.
He's taking away my record for the oldest person to do a solo around the world race. Mind you, I'm quite happy about it being Jean-Luc.
But do you think it is physically more demanding to do an Imoca than a Rustler 36? Probably is.
Yeah, because the weight's
bigger
heavy.
sail.
I sold my boat because I was pulling muscles too much. When I was winching, I was pulling muscles.
Right.
And I realised,
But you did the Route to Rome later on with that
yeah,
boat when you were
I didn't damage
74
myself.
or something.
I didn't damage myself on that. I should have. Another 200 miles, I'd have been second. Yeah, it was bloody annoying, but there you are. You know,
What is your heart? Is it in racing or is it
I
in...
love racing,
You love racing.
but I love cruising.
Right.
So, you know, this year I've been to Greenland, been to France. You know, I sold the Imoca boat. I bought a cruising boat, a FAR 56, lovely boat.
The one built in Sweden.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. I had to change it though, because it's got these double beds.
Right.
Crazy,
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
They came out, bunks went in,
Yeah.
so I can sail it properly.
I sailed that boat across the Atlantic. Did the
Good
arc
boat.
with the FAR 57, I think it was called.
Yeah, well, it is with the anchor. It's 57.
Right.
It's a good boat,
Yeah.
lovely boat, very well built. Very happy with it. And yeah,
And then you have also sort of reconstructed your own
Suhaili.
Suhaili,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, she's just getting a message there. We're just sorting out the exhaust on her. Yeah, I mean, apart from the fact that I'm waiting to fit the new exhaust, which is half fitted,
Right.
I can sail today. She's sitting there waiting to sail.
Is she a museum piece, you
No.
think, now, or is it
Well, not for me.
that you will use her?
Oh yeah, yeah. I shall go to Falmouth in April for the 50th anniversary.
Right.
22nd of April, I shall cross the finish line again.
Yeah, great.
Exactly 50 years later.
Really fantastic.
So, with a lot of friends coming down too.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
So this Indian guy who unfortunately was badly hurt, was that boat lost or is it being recovered?
I think it's lost.
It lost. Yeah.
I should think it's sunk by now.
Was she an exact replica of
More
your?
or less, yeah.
More or
Same
less.
same shape.
Right.
Lighter,
Right.
and she's cold molded,
Right.
whereas Suhaili is not. But basically the same shape, yeah.
Did you actually take the drawings off a Colin Archer boat at the time?
No, nothing, I didn't do that at all. She was designed by William Atkins,
Right.
but he put on his drawing based on Colin Archer.
In your world, which is you follow the racing obviously, but you also part on this company. Where do you see the most interesting development of sailing? Do see these ocean passages for, how shall we say, ordinary people, or is it going to be even more elite?
Well, if you say take the Vendée, then you've got to make a comparison with professional racing in any sport.
Yes.
So what's it cost to have a racing car? Hell of a lot more. That's a different game. But that doesn't apply to everyone, just as car racing doesn't apply to everyone. Just because some people have massive budgets and the drivers are paid millions, does everyone say driving's elite? No. So why do they say just because we've got a few people with expensive boats and big budgets, sailing's elite?
No, I wouldn't say that sailing as such is an elite. I wouldn't say that the guy who buys a Swan 65 for 20 million, or not that much, but say 5 million euro is elite as a sailor. I mean, he's a rich person. But when I talk about elitism in sailing, I mean that the level of sailing is very professional at high level, and it takes a lot of efforts financially and time to make it. And that is one direction of sailing, which you may or may not like. Whereas the broader sense, you do the clipper race, or you sail in local areas in small boats.
I think it's numbers. If you take France, where you get a lot of publicity in the media for sailing, they've got a lot of very good sailors, and they can get sponsors because there's good publicity. I don't think anyone treats them as gods. They respect them, but because they get the publicity, they can get the sponsorship. In Britain, we've got some good sailors, but they can't get the sponsorship, so they're never going to be able to compete on an equal level with the French, because they can't get the same. If they do, when they get the same boats like Alex, they can do it. But we have a huge problem getting sponsorship. So it's a different game. It's just a different game. But in France, it's treated, it's a great sport. In Britain, they treat it, it's elite. Well, it isn't elite at all, but that's the BBC perception. But not in France. They don't see it that way at all. See it as a great sport. So we suffer in Britain from that.
But again, looking into your world of sailing, which is now perhaps mostly with the clipper race, where do you see that going? Are you having any directions
Well, it's
other than what you have at the moment?
The formula works.
Right.
We're filling the boats up.
Right.
Interestingly, it's become the first time in the last race there were more non-British than British, and that's a trend we're encouraging, because we think expansion will come from the world, not from Britain. I don't see any reason to change the basic formula if it's working, but at the same time you've got to keep looking at it and seeing what needs to, where do you change things to improve it? A formula's good, but you've got to keep examining that formula. Is this right? Is this right? Is this right? What should we do to improve it? With us, it's tending to be things like the families, bringing in more support for them, so they follow the race. That's been very successful. But the basic formula of the race is right. But that doesn't mean we won't find a clever idea tomorrow and say we better do that.
But you are now into your third generation of clipper boats.
Yeah.
Do you see a new generation coming up?
Not yet, but there will be.
But there will be. How many new round the world
Don't know yet.
trips?
These boats are about to do their fourth. They could probably do at least two more. They're strong. And we're doing a pretty big refit at the moment. I mean, serious refit.
Do you do a big refit after every race,
Yes.
and new sails and everything?
Oh yes, everything. New rigging, sails.
Right.
Boats are basically, we take things out, service them, put them back. Things like water makers, generators, engines, all the electronics. That normally has to be changed because it moves so fast.
But when you say new rigging, that means both standing and running
Yes,
rigging
correct.
you change?
Correct.
So all the shrouds are new, all the...
Everything,
Right.
Shrouds will not last 2 circumnavigations. They start going at 1.5.
Mm-hmm.
Now I don't know when they're going to go in that half, therefore I don't risk it.
Right.
We renew them for each race. It's the only safe thing to do.
So the boat that you have now is designed by Tony Castro,
Correct.
which is sort of a pretty fast around the world yacht compared to what you had before.
Yeah, the previous ones were Ed Dubois. They're good boats, they're very seaman-like. But you have to look at what's going on in the world. I mean, when we built the previous ones, that was not dissimilar to the Volvo boats. But they changed, and we had to change. And a lot of it was down to me having an open 60 and saying, we've got to move on. So we went to Tony and we settled down and talked to him and said, right, Tony, this is what I'm looking at. Come back at me with some ideas, which we then looked at, and frankly, he got it very close to what I wanted first time. And then we just, trimmed it here and there and created a boat which I'm very happy with. Yeah, you can learn from every boat. Some things say, actually, it would have been better if we'd done this instead of that. Okay, next boats we will.
You've had some Norwegians on the Clipper races.
Not enough.
Not enough. No, we should promote the race in Norway and get some more people to come.
They've been great. We had some delightful Norwegians, actually. Really nice people who fitted in very well. And we'd love to have more of them. But lovely to have a Norwegian boat, actually.
Yes, from a Norwegian port.
Yes, because we could actually call in there. If you think about the race, we could call in to the port if it was on the west. Well, it has to be on the west coast.
What would it call to have a Norwegian boat?
What would it cost?
Yeah,
Close to $1 million. And a visit as well. Yeah, but you bring all those people into the port.
I think that's very encouraging, and I think we will leave you here. You have other things to do, and it's been very interesting to talk to you. We could carry on forever, as far as I can see. There are so many things to talk about with you, so that's very interesting. But knowing that there is an opportunity for Norwegian sailors and Norwegian ports, that is very encouraging, and we'll leave it at that. So thank you very much for your time.
My pleasure.